Hello, everyone. Sorry about this. Just repositioning this here so you get to the. Good afternoon. Good evening. Of my 100 days. All right, so let me just give you the lowdown on what it's about to happen here on my channel for the next uh, very comfortable chair I'm sitting in. It's called Malcolm. It's something bought in IKEA. That said, it is the best from the IKEA range, and it's a pretty decent, awesome chair. There are better chairs than this one, but this one is mine. I like it very much. Um, so this is a challenge that I put it on myself. Other guys have done this challenge before. I myself have been directly inspired by Jeff Lafferty, uh, wonderful gentleman that quite kindly had me on his channel as well. And it was him doing it that finally made me consider in doing it as well. So this is day one of my 100 days of comics, and the idea here is to finish off my comic book series called Chromosome 96, which just recently won Indiegogo with issue one. We didn't manage to get the total amount of the funds that were needed to go into print and pay off the work that was farmed out, which is colors and lettering. But not to worry, there will be a relaunch. And on that relaunch, we will be having issue one and two put it together. So more pages, two books in the same tiers, streamline the digital downloads of those two issues and the print copies as well. There will be a couple more tiers with some prints and bookmarks and stickers and fridge magnets and stuff like that. And then hopefully we'll have a toy line. A toy line as a stretch goal. And maybe if we get to another stretch goal, we will be printing and shipping the book from the US because we understand, me and my team, that most of our customers are US based, and we want to give the best at the most affordable price for the people that are the biggest amounts of fans. Something that some publishers, which will go unnamed, do not understand, I'm afraid. Yeah, I know Mitch Bradpfizer is having his own live stream right now, but I think he might be close to the end, so maybe we'll get some of his viewers here. Okay, I'll be right back. Just hold on your horses, and we'll get started on this in a second. right, sorry for this interruption. We'll get there. Okay, let's just hang these ones here to dry. Yeah, I will be showing you, first of all, the material, the equipment I work with. Okay, so we got our script, which is, oops, sorry about that. We got our script, which is somewhere there. Right now, the most important is this, though. Most of the people that tune in to watch videos. Oh, sorry. Ugh, I sleep so little. 3 hours a day, 4 to 5 max. Sorry. So if there's a yawn here and there, I apologize in advance. Or in arrears, as it was just this one. I believe that a lot of you that tuning into these streams and live videos are probably interested in the kind of equipment that is used, what that some guys might use. So obviously you might want to get the same yourselves. These here comic book layout pages. So this really is um, to save a little bit of work if you have the extra money to spend. It's not very expensive in any case. Canson, it's a French company. They're also available in Canada very easily, and then any other place you do need to order them from the web, and they don't come cheap on the web. But the actual the actual products they make, they're not that expensive. And they got this line called a fanboy. So they basically make papers for both manga, classic comic book US size, and also for bande dessinée, so the standard graphic novel European size. So they make all of it. They make all formats, and the paper that they use for each one of their products tends to be uh, well the right kind of paper. So these basically what they are. They're pre-layered, formatted thumbnails pages. So basically, you get a little bit of space to write your description of the page or what is happening in each panel, and then you get a thumbnail to draw into, and then you can have like these. You can have they put two and two. So basically, if you have a kind of a two-page spread, you can draw them side by side. Now, you can do this just by grabbing a regular piece of paper, drawing some boxes in them, which will kind of mimic the page, this size or a little bit bigger, and a bit smaller as well. But that's becomes a little bit more difficult unless you got your eyes are still perfectly tuned. But this just saves a little bit of work because I just go in here and and well I do what you see here basically. So I write some notes here of the stuff I want to highlight on each panel. Uh, there's notes for the script as well. There's notes for continuity. Sometimes I write at the back as well. And here you spend as much time as you want planning. This is basically the planning phase. So you get to do all this stuff. You try out different versions. There's a lot of pages. There's like I've done the whole series of the 5 issues, which altogether is about 130 pages in a whole one of these. So how many pages they give here? 35. Yeah, okay. So they give 35. Obviously, in each one of these pages, there's 4 pages of comic. I still have some to spare, actually, as you can see. So here's issue 4 and 5. And then what I do is that I can either, if I'm getting too precious about certain panels or certain figures, what I can do is a scan and a blow up and a printout of these thumbnails which then I will well I'll print them out to size, and then I use a light table which is next to me to put this onto the page. Sorry, been having this horrible cough for 3 weeks. Actually, these two thumbnails here, page 11 and page 12 of issue 4, are actually here. So 11 and 12. Yeah, so I can blow this up after scanning it and printing it. Obviously, I have and then another yawn. I'll be recovered tomorrow. This won't happen so frequently, hopefully. I can have this printed out. I only have an A3 printer, so sorry, an A4 printer, not an A3. I got an A3 scanner, but an A4 printer. So I'll have to, if I blow this up to the actual size, I'll need to print two A4 pages in order to be able to light trace. But what I usually do is that I eyeball the thumbnail as it is here. I eyeball it against the um, the page. And what I usually do is that I kind of structure the panel, and then I kind of fill up with some, with some shapes. What do you call geometrical shapes to kind of give me an idea of where I'm going to position each element, each character, background, foreground, whatever. Usually, I'm only worried about the foreground and the characters. The background, unless is a very specific kind of background detail or a specific perspective, then I'll do that as well during the eyeballing phase. Otherwise, I won't worry so much. That comes later. So in this case, this is already one step ahead. I already start filling in some. I already start doing the line for the figures in these pages here with a little bit more intent. So with a little bit more elements in it, a little bit more detail. So I'm not sure if you can see very well these lines. This is done with a light pencil. And then from here onwards, if the page is already like this, what I'm gonna start doing is we're gonna start shaving off what is not necessary. Like General says, I forget his name, but whatever his name is, the general commander of Rambo says to him, you're a rough stone. What you need is to be for someone to clean you up a bit, to start peeling off and scraping off those rough edges until you finally become a precious stone. And really, it's what's going to happen here. So I'm going to start going over and over and over again until the drawing is tighter and tighter and tighter until we finally get there. So that's a process that can take a long time, or it can be very easy depending on the page. Right, so next, so first you got this. So for everyone wanting to know, Canson comic book layout pages, very useful, 100% necessary. What is 100% necessary is this. And I do have it here ready to show you. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so we go one up. This is their actual comic book boards, comic book art boards. This is specifically for the American size. They actually say block de planche PD bande dessinée. That's uh, it's not comic books. Bande dessinée. It's a French expression for sequential art. Um, so if you're in Europe, that's how you know um, uh, comics in Europe as commercially. It's called bande dessinée. Um, and in most countries in Europe, in UK though, you probably call them either the funnies or you use the American expression comics. Um, Only pretentious people call them graphic novels, but it's perfectly fine to call them graphic novels. I like that term very much. But anyway, back to Kansen fanboy line. Okay, now they do a series, different series of Piper. This particular one, with the red riding hood there with the guns and the emo boots on the cover. These ones are the best ones. They're the best ones for size because it's slight differences, very small differences in size, and also paper quality. Don't have the one here, but I have bought different Canson papers for we for comic book artboards. All of them the fanboy line, but they are definitely different. This one is for me the best paper. So what do you get here? They're the same. They're the ones that I'm using here at the moment. So what you get here is let me tuck this in here, otherwise the whole thing is gonna fall off. Okay, so what you get here is what it says on the cover. 24 pages. So that's 24 pages will be enough for a whole comic book. Um, so if you're doing a regular US comic book, they'll be between 22 and 24 pages. So there you go. They got you covered. 24 pages with one block of paper here. You get to do the whole book. This one is 150 pounds, 250 GSM. So they are heavy. It's heavy paper. Uh, as you can see by the sound the mics and by the band, this is heavy paper. This is good for pencil, ink, watercolors, anything you want. I won't advise oil though, but you can certainly do a little bit of pastel here, maybe some very light acrylics, but really I won't go that far. They do specify here what is good for. But anyway, what you get then is, just going back here to the cover as reference, 11 by 17 inches. Uh, and then you have the live area, which is, I think, your regular 10 by 15 inches. And really, this is perfectly laid out. I mean, all the pros you'll ever see, they'll ever come across. They have dozens of choices. I won't say hundreds, but dozens of choices of different companies and different papers. Most of them are supplied by their own publishers. They have their own printing, imprint, whatever. The average consumer, for any of you wanting to start doing this seriously, then this is the paper you need to get. Um, Funny enough, it's difficult to get this particular one. So again, can ask other papers this line, but they're not as good as this one, and they're not the correct size. There's even one they do that is a weird size that is either too long, is like not wide enough. Sorry, not wide enough, but too long, too long here. So it's like extra rectangular. It's very thin, so to say, the actual format. But this is the perfect one. As it is a perfect one, it is also not the cheapest one. And funny enough, Canson, that is already kind of a hard company to get hold of, unless, of course, you're in France and in Canada. And yes, it is easy. I mean, in Canada, you can easily get them at Michael's. I know that for a fact because I got one there once. So I got more than one actually because it is difficult. I got three or four. So, but this particular one, it's kind of extra difficult to get. So even in the usual places where Canson sells, it's not that easy. Anyway, this really is the paper you want to get because I tell you, it's like this. This paper here, it's smooth enough to work with your pencils and your inks, which we're gonna get there next. And in case you are a bit brute with them, and you're too heavy on the pencil, or your inks kind of splodge all over the place, this paper will hold it. Paper is like a it's like a good castle wall. You will take the punishment. You will take the punishment of a pencil which is too heavy, or an ink that got spread all over the place and spilled all over the page. Waterproof, um, meaning obviously if you dip this in water you lose the paper, but if a little splash of water gets here, it's not a big deal. It dries up and it holds your ink as long as your ink is waterproof as well, obviously. But then, but as I'm saying, besides being strong, it's also smooth. It's smooth enough that in the case of the pencils I'm going to be using, this if I'm doing this properly, this is I tell you guys, this is if you start doing this is like an earthquake, isn't it? Now let's check this out. Here we go. Okay. Now that was a number 7. So this is a heavy HB. It's a sketch technical pencil. I didn't obviously press too hard, but I went and hit heavy like you saw, and erase this with a crap rubber, by the way. And now, if you can see, it's intact. The page hasn't suffered anything. There's no scratches, nothing. So there's a little bit of grain to it. There's a little bit of very little bumps in it. So it's not to say that this is completely smooth. This is not a glossy paper or anything like that. This is a matte paper, is a rough paper, but it's smooth enough for anything and it's hard enough for anything. So this is a perfect combination. Now, I'm quite happy with this. Now, I'm sure that you will hear from different guys other papers that they'll probably prefer. But in case if you guys want to take it seriously and you have a paper that is both sturdy and smooth enough, I strongly advise this. Canson, Fanboy, and get this one. Okay, it has gotta have these measures here and this white. This is the one you need to get. All right. Okay, we're not finished with the tutorials yet. Okay, next. Pencils. So this is a massive pencil. Look at this. Okay, it's the size of my finger. Bloody hell. Um, right, Faber Castell. I like these guys very much. These are the pencils I used to use when I was a kid, and they've been my companions for all this time. They've been great companions. And yeah, I got them in all the sizes. So you got the B here, really, especially for the figures I do. They're big, gigantic monsters. And if you want to fill in a page and you're going crazy at a sketch like a Van Gogh, you really want one of these. Um, you're worried about sharpening this? You need to get one of these here. It's quite full at the moment. Open this up. You have two sizes, yeah? A little one goes here, and the big one goes there. There you go. Don't expect any special effects. This is not an electric pencil sharpener, but it's just to tell you that Faber-Castell does this to sharpen your pencils nice and smoothly. So he provides both a big hole for their big, chunky, sketchy pencils and a regular hole for another regular pencil. So I do work mostly with HB and up to 2B. These are exaggeratedly heavy. These are 6Bs. And when failing that, my son does take a lot of my pencils away for his own drawing. I use Stadler, or whatever you want to call it. That will be my second brand, my second choice brand. Right now, to make my life easier, though, I've been using these technical pencils. Jim Lee actually uses these ones. This is Jim Lee Technical pencil. There you go. You can touch it. No, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Now, Jim Lee worked with this, yeah? Actually, Jim Lee has never worked with this one, but he does uses this brand. Anybody interested in this? I'm trying to get the light here. Graphic gear. Anyway, it's a Pentel. It's from Japan. A lot of the stuff I use is unfortunately from Japan. Unfortunately, not in the way that I don't want to give them my custom. I do. They have great products when they have them, but it's just that the shipping, whew, sometimes and the time that it takes sometimes to get here to the UK is actually not that bad. But sometimes if you're ordering this from a supplier which US based, then you're probably going to have some trouble. Anyway, this is the heaviest one, number 7. For details, I have number 3, and then I have a 5 here somewhere for something in between. To go with these ones, I actually got these as well. Um, one of these, they're again, they're well, we call them technical erasers, isn't it? There's a thinner one here and a thicker one here for thicker lines. So really, if you want to go, if you want to make your life easy, and you want to have good product, an affordable product to work with, get yourself some Canson paper. Although again, that one is not the cheapest one, but is really the best one. It will save you a lot of headaches. And get this. This is it. You're ready to go. You don't need anything else. Got thin, heavy, thin, heavy. Match them up like this. There you go. You're done. Now, inks. Okay. I could show you brushes, but I'm not a brush guy. There is some brushes I use sometimes to fill in a lot of blacks if it is necessary, but I'm a guy that works with pens, unfortunately, so work sometimes takes a little bit longer. Now, I do use on occasion Micron. Oh, by the way, in case you guys are wondering, this here, so if you want to buy these, that comes with that, or you shouldn't buy one without the other because these are the refills, yeah? These things here also have refills, yeah? When you finish the rubbers, you open from the top or whichever way it is. I don't remember now. I'm not going to break it. But you can refill these and these. These are like lollipop sticks, basically. The rubber's right at the end of it. And you just refill these things. So again, this is a great thing because, I need to buy 15 of these to get me through 2 of these books, yeah? Well, with these ones and these ones, I'll never have to buy another one again. This is metal. This is pure steel. It won't break. The mechanism is quite sturdy, quite good. That's why it's worth buying these things. And it's worth getting that extra dollar on the extra equipment. Yeah, you won't have problems with this. Yeah. All right. One more thing I want to show before getting to the inks. Yeah. Curves. Yeah. A lot of people, including myself, always wonders. Man, how do some guys do those lines, those perfect circles and those perfect waves and all that? You just get this. You cheat, really. These aren't French curves. Those are French curves. French curves is when I'm talking about girls. I'm talking about ladies. But sorry about that. These things here comes in all sizes and shapes. Let me just. Here we go. There we go. There's a big one here somewhere. Well, there's a really big one. Great for these pages. You want to do those big white speed lines or the big spaceship that has a really long elongated line across 2 pages. You really need something like this, something much bigger than this. I got it here somewhere, but I cannot find it right now. A little second. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. This one is nice. Give you some nice long lines. Yeah, on the camera here, it might look small, but it's actually quite big. Right. Okay. These things, most of you probably know them. Some of you might not have any clue what it is. So I like to show as much as possible here, because I'm not a master of design. I'm self-taught. But I had to learn a lot of the shortcuts over the years, and because no one used to tell me. So I think it's very useful to give you guys as much as possible on the first day, just out of curiosity and just for the sake of information. Give you as much as possible so you can actually probably pick up some hints and some good little pieces of information that you might find very useful if you're starting to do comics now, or even if you've done them for a while but actually have never come across some of this equipment. So these are French curves. Again, they will supply you pre-made lines. So they're stencils uh, with these curves, which they will fit almost any situation. So if you really want to have a back here, like for example, you want to do the teeth here of this guy. You probably wouldn't need to, but if you want to do his teeth and they're slightly curved, then you can always try to find the right one. This one is too big. That one is too curved. The one inside won't be any good, but then you go to a different one, a little bit longer, and you find what you need basically. So really, it's just a question of moving it around. It's almost like the technology they work to map out things inside submarines. They curve things around and find the correct navigation course. And then there is this ones. That one is too deep. That's why I chosen this one. She's a little bit flatter, so it's better for your pencil. So when you do your penciling around it, you don't have to. Well, this is going to be a little bit more complicated. Here is a bit thinner. As you can see, you got all the sizes here. Now there's hundreds of these stencils, different shapes, different things, but these really are the main ones, the basic ones. You have the curved to straight lines, and you have all the round spherical shapes you need. Obviously, you always need one of these. I have no idea what this thing is called. I think it's called a ruler, but I'm not sure. That was a bad joke, wasn't it? Okay, back to the inks then. So, I'm trying to find a micron here, which is not faded. Most of them are faded. I think I have here. There we go. Okay. These are microns, guys. Are they Japanese? They're Japanese, isn't it? Okay, Pigma. Pigma is the company that does them. Micron is the actual name of the pen. Technical pens. Permanent ink. Be careful, some of them are not permanent ink, but these ones that come in this beige, brownish color, they're all permanent ink as far as I know. So pigment, permanent, they come on all sizes. Obviously, that mostly short nibs. They're small nibs. So even number 4 here is not that much. And then they have a number 8, which is of a decent size. For this kind of book is actually number 8 could be good for most of the larger figures. And then you have this. It's like a brush, a nice felt brush nib. Um, they're not replaceable. They're not fillable. So once they go, they go. And they tend to go pretty easily. That is a problem that I have with microns, is that they dry ever so easily. And it's really annoying. Again, I don't know. Maybe it's because they come from Japan. They're manufactured there and they come across the world. Whatever it happens, I've tried different suppliers and I always have the same problem. These babies here, they dry way too fast. which makes my stock of these things be huge, huge. When you're doing all the inking work with these, you need a huge amount of stock. Okay, so in order to avoid that, I decided to become a customer of these guys here. Now, these guys here are Uniball. Yeah, a name like that you kind of think is probably a kind of a metal ball at the end, isn't it? A normal permanent ink pen, traditional pen. These are my choice at the moment. Again, I'm bringing the light here. Unipin, Unipin. Sorry, not Uniball, Unipin. I believe they're. Oh, this is made in Vietnam. All right. I'm not sure if it is a Chinese supplier that commercializes this around the world, or if it is a Japanese one. But again, this is done in Asia, so Far East. I hope I'm not being racially abusive to the people that do these pens. Yeah. Uniball, it's better. I used to be a big advocate to Pigma microns, but now I'm all for Unipin because um, um, when you decide to ink something with pens, test all of them. You grab all your pens, yeah. You grab all of them. You grab the paper that you intend to ink on, and then try line by line. One first test you should do, yeah. First test you should do for anyone not knowing, yeah. Settle the pen like this, yeah. Without putting any weight on it, yeah. But just settle like this and see how much it spills. See how much it bleeds, yeah. That is very important, yeah. I'm, it's bleeding, is making a huge hole here, yeah. But this is not. This is a crap paper, yeah. This is like a Xerox paper, yeah. But that's the first test you should make, yeah. You test all of them, but this is the first one you do. Just settle the pen without any effort. You just settling the pen there and see straight and see how the ink is flowing through it. You see how the ink is resting, is affecting the paper, yeah. So the bleed test to start with, yeah. Then you do your lines, yeah. See how it flows, see how it feels, yeah. See if it breaks. So try to apply always the same weight as you do the lines, yeah. Then try to go a little bit faster, a little bit harder on it. And every time see if there's any scratching, see if there's any, actually there was some scratching right there, but I think that's the paper. See if the, see if, see if, see, see if he's smooth enough that there's never any loss of the line as you do it. Because the worst thing that can happen if you are doing all your professional work with a pen like this, and you're doing a nice straight line, and then you're gonna do some hatching, right? And then you do some cross hatching, and you need to make sure that it's all going to have the same weight, all the same line weight, and you don't want these things failing. Like this one is failing like hell because this is already a pen that is almost finished, yeah. But one of these, properly used, depending how much I ink with it, this can last me about 3 months or more, honestly. Now, obviously, if I'm doing a comic book issue every month, 22 pages, it won't last me 3 months. It probably lasts me just that book, but it's still very good because this is cheap, right? They're both cheap. Both of these brands are cheap, but in the long run, I found that Unipin, which was suggested to me by a fellow artist a couple of years ago, um, the ink is stronger. That's another thing you should do when you do the ink test. You do fill in a large, not a large area, but let's say make a little square like this. Fill it in completely, yeah. Fill it in completely, and then see the consistency of the black, the consistency of the black of the ink against one another, yeah. Well, this is a very thin nib, so you want to do the same thing, but you see the consistency, yeah. The microns are they're they're much more sensitive. They will give you a much better precise, concise line, yeah. They're great if you're doing huge small details, yeah. Huge small is kind of a contradiction. If you're using if you're using them for very small details, yeah. The problem is that if you're doing this sort of work, If you're doing that sort of work, then you probably don't need this. What you need is what I'm going to show you next, right? So really, for any traditional comic, good enough and quick enough, then get these, the Unipin. You'll be as satisfied with it as with the Microns. The ink consistency is practically the same. I the larger nibs for the twos and the fours, which are medium-sized nibs, they also work much better. And the best thing is because they're almost the same price, although I think these ones are just tiny little bit more expensive, you will get much more out of these ones than the other ones. Like I said, the pigments have a problem. They dry like heck. These ones they don't. These ones they don't. And that doesn't mean that the ink is shabbier, that the ink is more watery or whatever. No, this is heavy ink. This is good ink. And whatever they're using here is pretty decent. Let me just try and connect my phone. Otherwise, we're going to lose this stream. Hold on a second here. See if we can swap these around. Sorry about this, guys. It's just that my phone, which I'm doing this broadcast on the phone, was charging and then it was not. So we end up having to do an emergency charge here now. I have to apologize for the state of my office at the moment because I'm kind of moving stuff around and there's boxes everywhere. All right, sorry for this little trip you guys had to take. I just had to reposition this in a different position so I could plug it in. Otherwise, we're gonna lose the stream, and we're still gonna do this for a few more minutes at least. Just having a chance to look at the chat now. Got Primark, Sanguinius, and Pixel Trader. As usual, thank you very much for dropping by. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, man. I mean, we really need to pick up a lot of subscribers so that the book Chromosome 96 will be successful the next time around. Subscribe and favor the videos. I mean, like the videos, do what you usually do. All right, so the other thing you need is oh, a lot of I haven't used these ones in a long time. The repeatographs. Now I hope you guys can see this. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so like I mentioned, the what they call the pigma microns. Yeah, the microns. They're thinnest nibs. They're very good. Very great pen for detail. It holds the light very well. It flows nicely. Yeah. But if you're using that sort of that sort of pen with that sort of nib, is because you're going to be doing a very specific technical work. Well, in that case, then you get this. Now, these ones, as you know, as you probably know, They're the top pens in the market. Yeah, I mean, one of these things sometimes goes for $250. A single pen for $250. So if you are choosing this, it's gonna set you back a lot. The the heads, the nibs are constantly gonna be clotting. You need to clean them almost every after every single use. The ink, well, they're refillable. They last a whole life. But the nibs get broken, scratched, or kind of twisted, so kind of a catch 22. You get a solid pen, which gives you the best line ever, but at the same time, it's high maintenance. High maintenance in terms of cost and time. I don't suggest these things unless you're doing very technical drawing, and this is sort of stuff that architects use and car designers use. But again, today all that is done in computers, so probably rotring is pretty soon they're gonna lose lose out in the market because one day these things are gonna become relics. I mean, these things, some of them are already relics, and some other ones will probably become relics soon. So, all right, that's it. I think we'll end this stream today here because again the phone let me down. I apologize for that, guys. I believe it was fully refilled. Talking about inks and pens. I'm saying refill when I meant to say charged. I believe the phone was completely charged, and because I plugged it into charge, and it wasn't. It wasn't charging. It was because the plug was actually not working. So in order to continue this, I would have to move the camera up and well, the phone up. I cannot move it up without unplugging it from the source, the electrical source provider. So that will kind of end this stream quite quickly. So in that case, then I said a look at the equipment that I use. I kind of went briefly over the sort of method that I use as well. I think more than we start doing these things properly with niche pencil, cleaning up and tightening up the pages as we go. So basically, there will be 52 pages here, two issues across, and there's a lot of work here for the next 100 days. And the idea is to pencil these things and ink them as well. And we're gonna start that properly tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this stream here with showing you this stuff. I hope it was useful for the ones that will come back to this video, hopefully over and over again, showing you some stuff that is not expensive and will make you do really really good art if you're so inclined to do so. All right, so thank you very much for joining me today. I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel in case you're just passing by. There will be one of these videos every day. I'll do also a weekly show with guest stars, other artists, which I will interview, and we'll go over pertinent issues of today's comics and the art world as well. Sometimes, why not? And I do also another series of videos where I kind of review old comic book classics and old graphic novels, important series and stuff like that, and go over the big names of comics, giving you a little bit of background and story of them as much as I know. And I will also do the random review video or the random rambling as well. Sometimes it happens. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow on the second day of the 100 Days of Comics to get this baby here, Chromosome 96, finished. So we can relaunch it and you can have the whole series in your hands before you know it. All right? Thank you very much, then, man, and join me tomorrow, okay? Bye bye.